Oh, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. I don't know when it is when you're watching this. I hope you had a spring break like I did. Well, actually, I'm lying about that. I haven't really been on spring break, but if you're watching this video, it should be after spring break. Hopefully, had a good time, good restful time. Stay safe and healthy and ready to learn some math. All right, so now we're going to learn the law of cosines. We had law of sines, and the law of sines we had to have a pair. We had to have a side and its angle opposite in order to use the law of sines. This case, we're not going to have that, okay? We're not going to have a pair, all right? But if we have three parts of a triangle, we can solve the triangle by law of cosines. Now, what you want to identify, I can use the law of cosines when I have side angle side, meaning this. Okay, if I have side C, if they give me, and I know the value of C and B, and the angle in between it, or the angle that makes up those two sides, or the inscribed angle, I can solve the triangle by law of cosines. Okay, I also can solve it if I have three sides. If they give me three side values, I can also solve the other parts of the triangle. Okay, and that's what we're going to do today. Now, they give you three formulas. Don't get worried that you have to learn all those three formulas. They're really basically the same formula, just working with different parts of the triangle. So what I like best is this equation, p squared equals, and you can fill in whatever you want, okay? But equals the other two sides, whatever they are. So I pick a side, okay, the other two sides. Okay, we're gonna put those same sides in here, okay, and then cosine of the angle. Okay, so let's say P was A. Okay, if P was side A, then the angle that I would put in there if I knew it, or the one I'm trying to solve for, would be cosine P. These two have to correspond. This angle has to be opposite that side. Then we just fill in the other sides for that, or whatever information that we have. Okay, and then we use this law of cosines. Like I said, I like this one. I don't like to think of it that different ways. That's too much for my brain to handle. So I just use that one, and that's what I'll build all of these off of. Okay, if you want to write that down, that's a good one. You need to know how to use the law of cosines. Put it in right with the calculator. All right, let's look at the first example. All right, first example, we look at this. We don't have a pair. Okay, we look at it. You have side S and the angle across from it. We don't know the side value. We do know the angle value. Side 13, the angle opposite's T. I don't know what the measure of angle T is. 17, I don't know what the measure of angle R is. All right, so we can't use law of sines. But SAS, that means I can use law of cosines. So we're going to use our formula. Okay. Oh, and I drew on it. Hopefully that doesn't mess everything up. Yay. Okay, so there's our formula. P squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine P. Solve for triangle RST. When they say solve, they mean find every value for the triangle RST. So they want us to solve for all parts. All right, I'm looking for, I think I had some other parts that I don't see on there. All right, but we'll do the best we can here. All right, so we're looking at this. So we want to solve this, solve for the other parts. All right, solve for, first of all, side S. Okay, now we're going to use side S. So instead of the P, I put S squared, meaning that the angle that's going to go with it, that corresponds with it, is 75. Let me move that out of your way. All right, so you see here cosine of 75, that's the angle I'm going to put. Now, the other sides, A squared plus B squared, don't think about the letters, it's just the other two sides, 13 and 17. So we put that in the formula just as it goes, just like that. Fill in everything that we need to know. We've got everything to solve it. Now, we got to solve this right. Order of operations. Okay, parentheses, exponents. Okay, we do those first. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So, multiplication, I'm going to need to multiply all that out. Okay, 2 times 13 times 17 times the cosine of 75. All right, I'm going to need to square these. Okay, square those. Those technically should be in parentheses. All right, find all those values. Then we're going to add and subtract last. You try to run these things in, and you forget the order of operations, it will not work. So I multiply all those things out. I get 114.3 13 squared plus 17 squared. I added those, I got 458. Then I'm going to subtract 114.3. All right, once I do that, I get 300 and something s squared. So we're going to do the inverse operation, and we get s is equal to 18.5. Now I know I'm moving a little fast. The great thing is that you can always slow me down. Okay, you can stop it, look at it, think it if you want to work it out, and then solve it that way. All right, now that we have s, though, okay, we don't have all the parts. We have all the sides. Now look, now that I have s, I have a pair. Like we said, if I have a pair, I can use the law of sines. All right, so we set that up here. So the sine of 75 divided by 18.5. Now, it's okay if you switch those around. All right, that's okay. It's a fraction. We're set up a proportion, so that's all right. All right, would be equal to the sine of r divided by its opposite side, which is 17. All right, then like we've been doing before in math, we've been working and getting ready for really this moment with sines. We take sine of 75, cross multiply, multiply it by 17, 18.5 times sine r. So really we're going to multiply these two values, divide it by 18.5, then you're going to get some decimal. Okay, that decimal is the ratio of sine. So that's where you're going to hit your second sine. All right, Chloe, make sure they can see this. If you, I don't know, they probably can see the whole board.
Also, men.
But remember, you're going to put sine inverse, and I'm not sure, I didn't put the video on, I didn't put the value of this on my screen, but sine inverse of whatever that decimal is, and remember that inverse gives you the angle. So when we do that, we get 63 degrees. All right, now you see we've got t is equal to 42. Now how did I know it was about 42? Well, since we have r is 63, we have s is 75, we don't need to use anything complicated like the law of sines or cosines. We know that the sum of the three angles of a triangle is 42. Okay, so we take 63, add 75, subtract from 180, and you get that 42. All right, here we go. Another different type of triangle, side, side, side. Okay, so we're going to use that same formula. All right, we're going to use that same formula. All right, now we're going to put those values in. Now p squared. All right, now they want us to find angle C. Well, which one corresponds with C? 21 does. So that's what I'm going to use for P. All right, so that I can find angle C. If I use one of the other ones, I'm not going to find angle C, and I'm going to cause more work for myself. All right, so you see here, I just plugged that in. 21 squared. Okay, it needs to be that one there. Then the other two sides, plug those in where they go. All right, cosine of P, or really I should have put C, because we're being more specific. We are actually finding C. And we can do that later, but if you get confused by that. All right, now I work it out just like we said before. Square the 21, square the 18, square the 12. We can combine those, multiply all this out. When you multiply negative 2 by 18 by 12, you get 432. So we get 441 equals 468 minus 432 cosine P. I need to get cosine P by itself. So what do we do next? Well, those are being multiplied, so we need to hold off on that. We're going to use division to separate that. So we'll subtract 468, divide it by negative 432. Okay, so we subtract 468, we get negative 27. All right, negative 432. So the next step would be to divide by negative 432. I'm going to go this way. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, when you take negative 27, divide by negative 432, you get 0.0625. That's that ratio of the angle. Okay, our calculators will tell us what angle that is by putting inverse cosine. That cosine, little negative 1. Let me draw it again. This is really important that we remember how to do that. Okay, cosine inverse of 0.0625. Okay. All right, after we do that, we plug it in. Okay, plug in our calculators, and we get about, I should have an approximate there, but we should get about 86.4 degrees. Okay, so we found that angle by that. All right, letter B. Now, they don't give us a diagram, but they give us three sides of a triangle. Triangle DEF has sides 60, 48, and 14. find the measure of angle D, round to the nearest tenth. So D, there's the pair, D and 60. So I want to make sure that P is 60. Okay, there's our formula. Okay, we're going to plug 60 in. All right, plug in our other two sides. Minus 2 times 48 times 14 cosine P. Again, I could put D because D is actually the angle that I'm solving for. All right, working this out just like we did before. 3600 equals 2500 minus 1344 cosine P. Remember, we want to do that last. Okay, so I subtract 2500. Okay, and then divide by negative 134. Now I did two steps in one, subtract 2500 and then divide by 1344. Now you get a negative number, and that's important. Okay, if you remember in our quadrants, cosine is negative in a different quadrant, which gives us a different angle. So make sure you put negative 0.8145, which actually put us in the second quadrant, meaning that it's going to be an obtuse angle. All right, okay, last step, second cosine, and we see this is true. Now when we do that, we get that angle D, which I kept as P, is approximately 145 degrees. All right, it says round to the nearest tenth. I didn't do that. I think I was following the book on that. But hopefully you get the point. All right, Huron's formula. Now I'm not going to work this all out just for sake of time, but I'll show you how we're going to do it. Pretty simple. This is something I'd give to you. You won't have to memorize. But ABC just represents the length of the side. So first of all, I find what S is by taking 9 plus 11 plus 18 times 1/2 or divide by 2. Once I get S, I can just plug the S's in where they go. Plug that number into each S. A, length of one of the sides, I put that in. Length of another in, length of the other in. Okay, and ABC, that really doesn't matter. So find S first, and then just plug those in.